Hey Casper Warriors, today we're going to be looking at some fresh ideas in the Bishop's Opening featuring the 4 Knights game. And without wasting much of your time, let's dive in. If you want to go through my study PGNs, such as the one I'm using in this study, you can visit my Patreon page. The link is in the comment section down below. And hey, don't just watch, that's not encouraging at all. You can simply share this video, hit the like button, and subscribe. So this is where you start with e4, and after e5 you go bishop c4. This is called the Bishop's Opening. There are plenty of things that black can do in this position, but the top played moves are knight f6 and knight c6. Why knight f6? Because black is just attacking your pawn on e4. You have an option to go knight c3, but I love going knight f3, giving black one more chance to take. Note that the game has potential to transpose back to the 4 knights variation, where you can go knight c3 like this. So let's begin with some popular moves from here. After knight f3, if black takes, you can just go knight c3. See, there's this one beautiful trap in the board, and it's a risky where you let black take your knight on c3, and then you take back with your d pawn and start planning of going knight e5 like that. This is a very trappy line, you guys. Also, your knight attacks the e5 pawn. You will see some people playing pawn to f6. By the way, pawn to f6 is the top played move, the engine move. This is what you will see most advanced players playing, stopping knight g5. Now it looks like knight h4 is the next plan, but no. We first of all want to castle short. Say that if something like bishop e7 is played, we simply have knight takes e5. And after pawn takes, we have queen h5 check. If king f8 is played, we have checkmate. If pawn to g6, we have queen takes e5, attacking the rook. This is very bad for black. If rook f8, we have bishop h6, but even better, rook e1 in this position. Well, looks like pawn to d6 kills our attack, but we have queen g7. There's nothing much that black can do, to be honest. We have moves like bishop h6. Let me just show you how bad this can be for black. Let's say they play knight d7 in this position. Now we can safely go bishop h6. Look at that. And look at this. Seen people playing knight e5, attacking the last squad bishop, but here comes pawn to f4, attacking that. And if knight takes, now we simply take on f8 since the bishop is pinned. And after that, we go queen f7. Look at that. If the knight moves, we have all sorts of things to do from here, even bishop that. Anywho, that's just how the line goes. It's up to you to figure out what to do once the dust settles. So after sacrificing your e-pawn and taking on c3, you will see most of your opponents playing pawn to f6, preventing knight g5. Here, instead of playing knight h4 like I mentioned, just go castle short. And after bishop e7, you sacrifice. If they don't play bishop e7 and say they play something like d6, there's a beautiful line here. Of course, you can go knight h4, you can play rook e1, all those are wonderful moves, but out of everything, I love knight d4, especially against lower rated players or even advanced players who are unprepared. Point is, I might play pawn to f4 next, or rook e1, nothing will bother my knight there. If they take, I simply give them a check. The king can't escape. They play bishop e7. And then guess the best move in this position, you guys. I'll give you chocolate in the comment section. Let's go. Okay, congrats if you found the move bishop h6. This is very nasty, you guys. This looks like a dubious sacrifice, but it works. After pawn takes, you have queen h5 check. Black can't play king f8 due to checkmate once again. So they might consider playing king d7. But listen to me, you guys. If you play bishop e6 check, that's fine, but it's gonna lead to a drawish sequence. So you need to be clever in this specific position. I recommend going queen f5. Why queen f5? Because if black plays king c6, that will be mate in 1 with queen b5 check. Yep. So you will see most of your opponents going back. After that, guess the move. Congrats if you found the move rook takes e7. This is a very cold-blooded move, you guys. Point is, black can't even take with the king due to rook e1 check. If king f8, we simply go queen h5. There's some problems to do with this pawn. Say queen d7. This is what most people love doing. Now you go queen takes h7. If queen g7, I guess you know what to do. Rook e8 and the queen is dead. From here you should find it easy to win most of your opponent's pieces and checkmate them. Of course, they are going to remain with 3 extra pieces for your queen, but the reason why Stockfish thinks this is winning for white is black's pieces are very passive. So just continue giving checks. Give as many checks as you can until your opponent hangs some pieces. Going back a few moves, after sacrificing your rook back on move 11 like this, if black doesn't take with the king and let's say they take with the queen, well and good, you now have mate in 7. How? You start with queen takes c8. That's check. The black king can't escape. The only move is queen d8. That's the only valid move, after which you go rook e1 check. The only move is king f8. Again, it's all about only moves. And now anything you do here is winning. For example, queen e6 is going to be so interesting with the idea of checkmating like that or capturing like this. That'll be checkmate in no time. But I love this queen takes d8 line. This is check. So the only move is king g7. And now I give you 5 seconds to find the best move in this position, the greatest one. Of course, there are so many good things white can do. Time for you guys to exercise. Let's go. I guess 5 seconds has already passed. The move in this position is simply queen takes h8. This is check. There's nothing much your opponent can do. This is a sacrificial game, guys. King takes, rook check, king g7, and mate, covered by the bishop. Let's look at the last line, you guys. Another line I intend to play is this one. After e4, e5, and bishop c4, if my opponent plays knight f6, I'll still go knight f3, giving them one chance to take my pawn on e4. And I do understand that not everyone takes on e4. Some people play knight c6 in this position. If that happens, I'll be glad to go knight c3. This is the 4 knights game. The only problem in this position is black can take a free pawn on e4, but we can get it back. The main line is to take, and after pawn to d5, we go bishop d3. Remember that line if you want to play some serious chess. But what I love doing in blitz, rapid, bullet is to go pawn to h4, again giving black a chance to take my knight like this, like we saw in the bottom case risky. And point is, most of my opponents here play bishop c5. That's the top played move, by the way, which is a mistake. At worst, we can just make black lose their right to castle by going queen d5 and win back a piece that we sacrificed earlier. Or at best, we want to go knight g5 after bishop c5, so that after castle shot, we go queen h5, wanting to checkmate. In case of pawn to h6, never be ashamed of going queen g6, still wanting to checkmate. See, black can't take your queen because their f-pawn is pinned to the king. And if they think they can take your knight like that, you have mate in 4 after hg. Checkmate is unavoidable. Amazing stuff. Before I play a game, listen, I do understand that after knight c3, knight takes e4 and h4, not everyone takes on c3. Most people love going back to f6. I do understand all this, but the only thing you need to remember here is to play pawn to d4 and knight d5. For example, you go d4 after pawn takes, you go knight d5. There's some crazy lines here. If black takes, you take back with your bishop, threatening to take and win back a piece or something like that. By the way, you can just go ahead and take. If bishop e7, which is another suspecting move, you can go knight g5, wanting to take. If they castle short, again you have queen h5. Same line, same stuff. If pawn to h6, this time it is too risky to go queen g6 due to bishop takes and knight e7. If you think about it, you're not going to checkmate. See that black's knight is already on c6, so they can just take your knight and replace the dark square bishop with their knight. So another way you can make great use of this position is by sacrificing on f7 with your knight. That comes with an attack. You see, if queen that, you even have mate in 3, like knight takes, this is check, and whatever black does, you have knight f7 open check and mate in 1. So I do understand that all these are possibilities. The only line that kind of gives me a lot of pressure is after pawn to d4, if black doesn't take, let's say they go pawn to e4. This line kinda confuses me a little bit, but I need to find a great weapon for this. The only move I started here was knight e5 back in the day. Knight g5 doesn't work due to pawn to d5, by the way. So let's do this, knight e5. From here we can figure it out. Yeah, so if pawn to d5, I guess the main move is bishop b5, and that's it. Anyway, let me try to play one game to see how this will go. I'll start with the bishop's opening. Stay tuned. And hey, if you really care about this channel and want to see us grow, click the subscribe button. Also, don't forget to turn on the bell notification icon for all my content. That way you won't miss any of my future uploads. Lastly, to get this free study PGN that I'm using in this video, simply scroll all the way down to the comment section and click the first link that you see, which will redirect you to a page that will ask you to subscribe before getting this PGN for free.